players, parents, grandparents, coaches, all the time here at St. Louis Hockey Training, we get asked, how does a skate sharpener work? How does this big machine sharpen those skates? Today, I'm going to talk through all the mechanics behind it, how the machine works, how it actually works on the skate blades, how the different cuts work, 3/8, 5/8, 1/2. All right, so let's get started. Number one, inside of here, there's a wheel and there's a spinner. Those match up to make the cut on the wheel. So as we spin, we push the spinner up against the wheel and it dictates what radius we're going to use. So there's three different ones that we use here at St. Louis Hockey Training. 3/8, which is the sharpest, 1/2, which is the middle, and then 5/8, which gives you more glide for the heavier players. So now we've got our wheel dressed. The next thing we want to talk about are the different cuts on the skate. So here I've got our three different cuts that we use here at St. Louis Hockey Training. 5/8, which you can see as a shallower cut. Those edges aren't as sharp. You'll get more glide out of it, but less bite in your turns and your stops. This is typically used for a heavier, bigger player. 1/2, this is the standard middle cut. So this has got a good balance of speed and agility. So we'll bite still when we take our stops, when we make our turns, but we get a good top end speed also where we're gliding on the ice. 3/8 for our smallest players, all right? These are the people that need the mechanical advantage of really digging into the ice. So really light, smaller players will use a 3/8 cut. You'll dig into the ice more, lower top end speed, but very tight turns and stops. Again, if you're under 50 pounds, you might need that mechanical advantage to push down into the ice where a heavier player could get away with a 1/2 and our heaviest players with 5/8 to up that top end speed. Now, last thing that we do after the skate's been sharpened, we have a set of tools over here. So we've got stones. Stone gets rid of the burr on the outside of the skate. So as that skate's being sharpened, some of that metal slag rolls over the edge, so it doesn't make it a clean edge. We run this stone up and down the outside of the blade to take that burr off. Our rubber stones are made for blades that have a coating on it, like my black steel, or like my step steel here. So that stone, that rubber stone, takes that burr off, but still protects the outside coating. Normal steel blades, we can use the standard stone to do that. Then once the sharpening is completely finished, to double check ourselves, we use our gauges. So that locks onto the blade, then we use our magnet on top to make sure that the blade is nice and straight. All right, that makes sure both edges are equal, so one edge isn't higher or lower than the other when the player steps on the ice. We've all had an instance where we've had a bad sharpening and we step on the ice and one of those edges isn't there. This makes sure that doesn't happen. Super important, wherever you get your skate sharpening, here or anywhere else, make sure that they gauge it at the end to make sure that you have equal edges. This has been another episode of How to Build a Stride. I'm Coach Zane with St. Louis Hockey Training. See you next week.